Last time we talked about my top 5 go-to amp models for metal, and this time it's all about modern rock. This is Source Code Sound, I'm Dominic, let's dive right in. To keep things simple, we'll only talk about the default combination of amps, cabinets and microphones as selected by Line 6. First up is the Mandarin Rocker, based on the dirty channel of the Orange Rockerverb 100 Mark III. This amp's been used by bands like Muse, Slipknot and Korn. I really like this one because I feel like it sits very well behind the vocal, and as someone who likes huge vocal production, this one's got to be a personal favorite of mine. Overall, Orange is very well known for their very distinct mid-range, and this one's no different. Besides that, we have a few bass hotspots, so frequencies this amp likes to accentuate, which are going to be around 80 Hz, 125, 160, 200-ish, which also puts the bass boost that many amps have slightly higher than usual. We have a slight cabinet resonance at and above 600 Hz, which is not going to be a huge deal, but you might notice it if you layer many guitar tracks. Saturation-wise, this one favors the first and second overtone, so if you play quietly or at a medium level, you'll get slightly more of the second overtone, and the louder you play, the more volume the first overtone is going to have as well. The Rev Gen Purple is one of 2 amp models based on the Rev Generator 120. The amp's been used by Unearth and As Light Dying, at least on the road. This one's the more mellow, high gain setting. This one has a lot of clarity to my ears, and I like that it doesn't bring so much mud into a mix, but it's a bit lacking in the warmth and depth that I want for modern rock guitars. This model favors 90 and 125 Hz, so we're going to get some boosts there compared to what you actually play and put into the amp. We have a resonance between 600 and 700 Hz, which is probably going to be the cabinet again. What's very interesting with this one is that it has a very pronounced second overtone. So that's the fifth an octave above your fundamental frequency. And that stays very consistent regardless of your playing volume. The Line 6 Epic is another original Line 6 creation, and so far there's been one of these in every video I've done, so they've got to be onto something. Now this one has that warmth that I was looking for in the Rev Gen Purple, and for me it's a pretty good midway point between the Mandarin Rocker and the Rev Gen Purple. Now this one has a pretty wide boost, which goes down to 70 and almost up to 400, 500 Hz, so it has a very accentuated lower mid-range and higher bass frequency range. Resonance between 600 and 700 Hz, which is going to be the cabinet, I assume. Saturation-wise, this one favors the second overtone slightly, but the first, third, fourth and fifth overtone come creeping in the louder you play. Also, this amp is especially touch responsive in the treble range. This next one's called Das Benzin Mega, if you pronounce it in German, and it's based on the Diesel VH4 used by bands like Alter Bridge, Metallica and Muse. This one just sounds classic to me. It's a great sound. I don't think it's right for this song though. This amp has a few favorite frequencies in the bass region, which is 90, 130, 160 and 200 Hz. And there's once again a resonance between 600 and 700 Hz, which is probably the cabinet. As far as saturation is concerned, this amp favors the first and second overtones, and they're mostly static. Except the third one, which is unusually dynamic, because we're used to seeing quite a lot of movement in the treble range, but to just have one specific overtone and not the first or second, which do fluctuate sometimes, but the third one, that's interesting. Coming up last but not least is the Placater Dirty, based on the Friedman BE100, used by bands like Perfect Circle, Foo Fighters and Mastodon. Now this one's not great on its own, but I really like it to add some low-end, low-mid information to mixes that lack that. I could see myself blending this one in with the Rev Gen Purple, and I think I'll just do that right now to show you. This amp has a bass or low-mid boost around 180 Hz, which is pretty high, and it goes down to 70 and up to almost 400 Hz. So this amp really favors the low-mid frequencies. Saturation-wise, this amp has a pretty strong second overtone, and that remains the same throughout different playing levels. And what's also interesting to me is the way the amp responds to increased volume in the treble range. We get more high mids and some treble information, and then as we play even louder, all of this high information comes in, and the staging is interesting to me. Before I show you the full mix comparison, I want to say thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, suggestions, or requests for future videos, just leave them in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I hope I'll see you next time. Have a nice day.